So now we open Blender and you will come to this window here. And this is like the first window that where you can load any project that you already did or start a new file. It is already a new file, but you can click in just in general. It will just leave you there. And if you don't want, you can just click anywhere else and it's gonna close the first window. So from here, I'm gonna just explain quickly a few things. You have many tabs here that we're gonna work on. You have the scene here, the hierarchy, okay, and you have the main scene. And for that, I'm gonna just activate the shortcuts. Yay, it works, amazing. Okay, so now on the bottom you have all the keys that I'm doing, and I need the window to be bigger. Font size, margin, mouse size. Okay, blah, 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 da, da, da. Just like that. Okay, so now you can see what I'm doing. So the first thing we're gonna do is like delete all the things. So to do that, A, and you press del on your keyboard. If you have a 60% keyboard or not one that have a numpad, uh, well, GG. You can use probably the window numpad, or you can edit the buttons by going in preferences and you go to input and it's not the input. You can maybe, no, where it is, key map, and here search like delete keyframe, or and it's like delete this one, and you can change this one for anything that you want. Another mouse button that you don't use, another thing on your keyboard that you often like never use or whatever, and this is gonna be able to delete anything. So here I just press del, it deletes everything, it's done, haha, we happy, GG. So what I'm gonna do, as you can see, I right click and I create a new collection because I want one to be my base vehicle and I want the second one to be the modded part. So I'm gonna just rename them like this. And in the modded parts, I'm gonna add a new one and I'm calling it bumper rear. That's just a way to do it. You don't have to do like this, but it's the recommended way I do. Now we click on base vehicle and we're gonna import the part that we have exported earlier. And for me, it is gonna be just a quick test. So let's see, I think it's this one. It's not the vehicle. I'm just trying to figure out. No, it's not this piece. This is something else. Which one it is? Body. I think it was this one that I worked on. Yeah, the bumper, the rear bumper. And was this one glitchy? I don't remember. Maybe, in fact. Let me try to find something else. Let me try something else to do, like another bumper. I think I have one in another project, and I'm gonna see right now the thing that I have started to do. So it's not here. Put that away. Where is it? I think it's in collection 2, and it's a weird name, like, yeah, this one. Okay, let's see what can I do for the video. Something with two parts would be cool, like I could place one and then add another one with a color. That could be a good thing to do. Is it this one for those two? Let's try it out, I don't care. So, well, okay, that's why. Let me take this. Let me take this one. Just like that. I remove this. I take this. Oh, oh. And I try now to fit it. Don't know why they didn't right away if it's made for this. That's probably not for it, right? Because you have like this thing and like actually where could it be if it's not this one? I don't know. Let me see. You know what? I'm not gonna bother. I'm gonna take a piece with multiple things inside and I'm gonna work my way out just like this. Not gonna lose any more time. And I'm gonna just put it here. Okay, blah blah blah, all transforms, bam 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 bam, just for now. Okay, so this is gonna be my modded piece. It's a front bumper. I'm gonna just change the light thing and I'm gonna remove the blobs here just for the matter of the video. So it's gonna show you how to edit a part, to delete something from it, how to separate the parts. So I'm gonna take only the thing that's gonna be, let's say, a chrome, okay, all the other parts gonna be chromed. Or maybe there's inside is gonna be chrome and the outside is gonna be a black thing. And the paint, of course, of the part. So that's our base model. And what I'm gonna do now is import the vehicle that we had. And to do that, you have to take the FBX of the vehicle. And I don't remember if I have one. I might have one, or maybe not. Let me just re-export it quickly. Mhm. Look, look. The game. Actually, let me take my vehicle. Mine. That I'm testing because I don't care about this. And export FBX, export scene. It's gonna be scene FBX. Let's go. And export complete, blah blah. Okay, goodbye. Now go on file import. We go on FBX and you have the vehicle that I just exported is here. You don't touch anything on the right, you just hit import FBX. And now you're gonna have a lot of stuff on the scene. And that's normal. And we have to like clean everything. Okay, so you can leave whatever you want, but there are parts that you need to hide from the vehicle, or you can just delete them if you think that you would never work on them, but you can't be sure that. So the best thing to do is to actually make the scene better for working. And how we do that? So you see here on the base vehicle, you have a lot of parts. And inside all of these things, you have a lot of other things. And for the purpose of modding, you don't have to have the whole vehicle, but you need to keep in mind that all the parts must fit this vehicle. So let's say you just want to change a bumper. What you can do right away is click on each part of the bumper and press H. And this is gonna hide here somewhere on the front bumper one model that was just used in fact by the game. And what I'm gonna do here is just keep pressing and hiding every single thing that is in a bumper way, so that we can start to work on it, the new model I mean. So this is the front grille here, this part and this part, let's say, and so that's the front grille. You have multiple layers because you have multiple details, or each details are called by LODs. It goes from LOD 0 to LOD 5, and they're all here. So let's say if I take a front bumper, like bumper front A, here you can see it starts by LOD 1 to LOD 5, and then you have the LOD 0. The LOD 0 is used by the game to show the most detailed things. So it's in the Forza Vista, it's in the garage, and it's in the game when you hit the highest detail option in your video settings. Outside of that, it's not using LOD 0, it's using LOD 1, so it's this part. And the more you go on the LODs and the more the details are gonna be worse and worse. And the LOD 5 is like the disastrous part of your vehicle. It's just for when you're extremely far away and it's not gonna show properly the part, but from that distance that it's showing, so let's say it's this distance, you absolutely don't need to have any details on it, so you don't care. That's why they exist. So right here I have started to remove everything else. I just left the rest because like I don't care. And what I'm gonna do now is adapt the part to the vehicle size. And to do that, you're gonna have to work in edit mode. And to go in edit mode, you press the tab button. It's written here on the bottom left. So now you have all the parts, and as you can see, I am moving around, and I didn't explain you what I pressed because it's written near the mouse button, but to move the camera, it's from your position, it's the middle mouse to go around, and if you want to go on the camera, like move the camera around, not you around something, you have to press Alt and the, let's say here for middle mouse for the views, so you can just like slide through with the middle mouse button and Alt keeping pressed. So Alt, your button, like your finger is keeping pressed on Alt, and with the middle mouse button you just press and slide somewhere. So I slide on the right, I slide on the bottom to go on top, and again the opposite to go on the view before, and again to go on bottom. And you can just like move around like this. And again, middle mouse button if you want to move like this. And if you want to like move, like the zoom is control or unzoom and middle mouse press and you go up and down. And if you want to go around, it's shift and middle mouse. So yeah, just get used to it. Go to a guide if you don't understand what I said. It's gonna explain you step by step what it is. So now, for adapting a part, they're not gonna be the exact same size as you can see here. If I put it in the position, I have also a button to zoom to what I have selected. So that's on my mouse. I've modified it. Just check on Google which button zoom to the selected. And also search for the button that isolates the selection. That's very useful for using when you're doing something. So yeah, as you can see here, it's not adapted to the part, it's too big, it's too wide, and what you need to do is try to set it up so that it doesn't go inside and too much at least, and that it is well positioned from your perspective of the vehicle. And for that, you're gonna use another tool that's called scale, and to use it, you press S. And now you see that you have little dots and two arrows pointing one on the opposite position. So where the dots are is where the part is, and your position is showing where the mouse is with the arrows. And to modify it, you can increase by moving outside of the line of the little dots or by the inside. So when you go inside, it makes smaller. When you go outside, it makes it bigger. And you see that when I'm moving my mouse, like the little arrows are moving from one position to the outside of the screen back to another position. That's just to make you able to track where it is and to not have it like all the way outside of your monitor and on the scene window so that you lose track where it is. And you can't click on the scene to apply what you are doing. So right now, how I'm gonna do is gonna go on the front position, and you can use these little indicators to move around on the view the same way we did for Alt and middle mouse with a slide. Okay, gonna go on the front, use Shift middle mouse to move around. Can zoom in, and what if you want to like remove the rear key on the right, you press Control space, Control space bar, and again on the scene to put back to the regular window. So let's say we want to work here and I want to adapt it. First thing, what is good to do is check that the middle of the bumper is in the middle of the word. And to be sure of that, you can use an indicator, which is this little thing here. So you can see it on the vehicle. It's on the middle of the word for now. We can move it around with Shift and right click, doesn't matter. And if you want to put it back, it's Shift S to like open a new tool window. It's to snap it somewhere, and we can snap it wherever we want and snap the part to this. So here I selected to grid, so it's not gonna like work on the icon but on the part because it's selected. But if you want to move the part somewhere and using the same tool, gonna go in object mode. Object mode is just like when you go out of the editing mode, pressing tab. So here I'm inside, here I'm outside. So to reset this thing, okay, you're gonna press Shift S and you go cursor to world origin. And this is gonna put it in the middle of the world. And this way, when you go in edit mode and you zoom in, you see exactly where it is. So as you can see, the middle of the line of the bumper isn't perfectly in the middle of the world. And to correct that, very simple, you can go on wireframe by pressing Z, and on the left you have other modes. The regular mode that we are is solid. You have a material preview, we won't use it. You have a render review, we won't use it too. It uses resource 2 of your PC, don't use it. And we have the wireframe. And what the wireframe does is it makes a transparent version of everything in the scene so that you can see through, and you have all the polygon and edges and vertices showing at once in this view. It's not very visible. You have dots everywhere, you have the lines. This is the edges and the polygons or the triangles. It can be also quads, so it can be a square, and it can be n-gons, and n-gons is the madness of 3D modeling. It's like when a shape is not using or triangle or squares to make a shape, and it looks weird. So to make something properly, it needs to use either a triangle or a quad. So yeah, let's go back to the front view and wireframe mode, Z wireframe. And then you can zoom in and you see that the dot is here and the line we want to align is this one. And to do that, we use the moving feature, which is when you press G. So when you press G, you can move things around the view. But to do it properly, we're not gonna just take it and move it on the right like this, because as you can see, it can go up, it can go down, we can't lock it. So the best practice is to press G and then use the axes, which are represented by these three letters, X, Y, Z. Minus is when it's the opposite, it's just a direction. But when we want to work on something, you just press the direction after the features. So let's say I want to scale something on the x-axis only to make it smaller on the side. I press scale and then I press X, and it's gonna show a line, and from this line is gonna modify everything from the axis of the position that we state only. And you can do that for the Z, same thing, it's top button, and for the Y it is front and rear. So as we want to keep the proportions of the bumper, first what we do is we scale everything without using one axis specifically. But first we need to position it properly. So as I said, you press G, and this time we're gonna use the X axis because it's the left right to move it to the right. So G, X, and then you can move the piece. It doesn't matter if you press G, if you move it and then you press X, it's gonna automatically put it back to the position it was in the other axis, and just use the X one. But if you want to make sure, you just press G, X, you don't move your mouse, and then you move around. It doesn't have to be perfect though, but it is better if you try to do it the most perfect way possible. And as you can see, when I'm going close or exactly on the position of the center of the word, something lights up. It goes from orange to a yellow. So if you really want to make it perfect, this is the way to do. Because there is a line in the middle, you can just put it in the line. We have zoomed the maximum possible to that. So we can be almost sure that it's gonna be in the perfect middle if the piece is properly made with the proportions of this line. And now that it's done, as it is in the center, we can scale everything. And then to do that, we go on one side. I want the edge to be on the edge of this wing in front here near the glasses of the headlight. We press S and we make sure that here we are in bounding box center. I forgot about that. This is very important. It should be originally, but sometimes it's not. So just put it in bounding box center to take the center of the word to make the modification. And then we press X and we scale it. So now I know it's here around. I go back here and I want to put this like that, something like that. And then I scale it After scaling, sorry, I just move it. So now you can see that it goes inside and we don't want that. But sometimes it's not about the scale, it's about the position. So the best thing to do is check again the position. And the proper position is the one when everything here on this view here is properly set. So around here, and this is not good, so we got to scale it up a bit. Should be something like that. And then we check again the position here and we try to put it inside. And as you can see, it doesn't fit perfectly. Whatever you'll do, it won't necessarily fit perfectly your part because the part that you import aren't set with the exact same proportions of the vehicle one. You have seen that I have zoom on the mouse like this. Like I can be anywhere, and if I want to go back to position, I press Alt and middle mouse, boom, it sends us to where I clicked. And you can also do the same by doing A, and if you want to like go from the selection and not the mouse, middle mouse, you have to find the button, like I said, that's gonna use the center to selected view. Anyway, let's say that this is how it must be done. It is not properly done because here you can see that it have some parts that are going through, but the thing is that this model isn't properly made for the proportions of our vehicle. But we're gonna say that this is how it must be, okay? Just for this video. And now we have the position properly done. What we're gonna do is first locate the part, so it is here, and we're gonna apply a shader to it. It already have multiple ones, but if you don't want to bother with that, just press here the minus, remove them from the part, and from here you can create a new one if one doesn't exist for the body colors. So you can use the same, you can use whatever you want. What I do is I just create a new one, and I call it, let's say, body. It was in caps, but yeah, body. And I already have one, so I'm just gonna press here on the left. This is the material selection to be linked to this one, so it's gonna replace it. And I press the one that is body, just like that. This is just a name for us. It's when we export to Forza Studio. It's gonna be more conventional to have something that you can know what it is. So you know that the shader is called body, and for example, the part you can call it front bumper, let's say, here. So that you know that the object, the mesh, is called front bumper, and the shader, which is the color of the thing, the texture, whatever, it's called body. That's a good practice to do. So that's the way if you want to do it. Now let's say that you have, like me, something else that isn't the body. And here it is the lights thing here. So what we're gonna want to do is separate this from the bumper. And to do it, there is only one way, is to select everything. And with this selected, we can then work with it. But the problem is that we have only one shader here, so we can't exactly select it right away, so you have to do it manually. What I usually do is that I separate the parts when they're symmetrical and I cut it in half. I do the work for one place of the part, so let me show you. So if we go just like this, and then I select the part that I want to, I unselect, sorry, the part that I want to keep. This is a tool. It's when you press C, it's a selective tool, and then you can select everything that you want with this left click. And when you do middle mouse button, is gonna unselect the things. And if you want to like quit the tool, you press your right click. C to enable it, right click to disable it, and when you're with it, left click to use it, and middle mouse button to undo what you have selected. So here, this is my method. It's just when things are symmetrical. So if you have something else that's not the same thing on one side to another, don't do that. But as I want to speed up the process, I can do it because it works this way properly. Another thing that I do is that I make sure, as you can see, I've applied here modifiers called mirror. When you click here, right, mirror is going to add a modifier called mirror. And if it is properly placed on the world, so you see that when I imported the part, I pressed Control A and add all transform modification. I don't know if it's going to show when I did it, but this is a good practice for when the part is placed properly and is scaled properly. You just go Control A, all transform, and it's going to apply everything to the center of the world so that when you export the part, it's going to be placed properly in the vehicle if everything goes well. Because sometimes, like for the studio does weird shit, I think that in the latest update, the 9.2.2, he fixed the axis, but he broke the scale, and we're gonna see that with the end of the adaptation for Blender. But for now, what you're going to remember is if you want to work on a part and you want to do modifications, and if the part is exactly the same from left to right, and you have positioned it in the center of the world like I did and I showed you, you can delete half of it and leave the other half for the mirror section of this tool, so that everything that you do in one side is going to be done in the other side. And this is the magic of Blender. So what I do usually is that I take the middle thing that was in the middle, I put it a little outside, so in the x-axis, and here I press clipping and I put it back by going G and X and go on the left. When you have clipping pressed, it's gonna not let you go past the exact same thing that is mirrored on the x-axis. So let's say that you want to go up and down, you can go front and rear, you can, but if you want to go more than on the middle, it's not gonna let you. And what happens when you don't hit clipping is gonna go through. And it's really gonna go through and it's gonna apply everything you do in the other side. And we don't want that because we want just to zero in some ways the position of the center so that it doesn't go through in a way that we can't see it. And to fix that, just click clipping, move it, boom, it's done, and you don't have to think about anything else. So now, as I want to remove this part from the rest of the body, you have to select everything, and you have for that three little, let's say, scene showcasing of everything. You have the vertex mode, it is the dot one that you can edit. For each size of everything you have a dot. You have the edge mode, which is the lines that are in between those two dots. So when you go back to the dots and you want to select one of the edges, you have to press the two dots here. And if I want to select the edge right away, I can go on edge mode. So it's 2 on the keyboard, not the manpad. It's above the regular keys and you can select the edges. Now, if I want to select a full triangle, I have to select the three dots here, and you see that the triangle is selected. If I go in edge mode, same thing, I have to press the edges to select the triangle to be able to work on it, but you have a face mode, and the face mode is exactly what it says. It selects faces. So depending what you want to do, you can like go through one thing or another or a third one. And this is exactly what I'm gonna do to select everything because this is the way. Know something also that when you select something from the wireframe view, it is very practical to use it because you can select things through. If you don't want to like select everything that is on one side, like in the solid mode, if I do it like this, it's gonna select just this side. If there is something else in behind this thing that you selected, let's say here and here you have two polygons. I go here, I select this one. Even with the C tool, I select this one. The other one's gonna be selected. But in wireframe view, you have the dots. The dot is center of everything that you can select, and let's say that it catches it, it's gonna select it anyway in the other side because you have like selected the two dots of it. You can still select only one, but with other tools that automates things. So let's say this one that you want to select the things, okay? It's gonna select everything around whatsoever like if you have something that's in the way. And we're gonna work our way by selecting everything that is this part and not the body. And for that, you have multiple ways too. You can select everything in the wireframe. Be careful to not select anything that goes from your part that you don't want to select. So let's say here you have selected part of the bumper. You can just use the same tool with middle mouse button to unselect it, check everything, and go this way. There are automated tools to select everything that's like around like the normal, but you see that it's broken because some normals are similar to this one. You can still try to see with amount of adjacent faces this fucked it up. You can go in vertex groups and it doesn't like select the vertex group, but we can create them right after. You can go to amount of connecting edges, but everything's connected so it doesn't work. And you have vertex freeze same way. This is another thing. I'm not gonna explain it because I don't know what is a vertex freeze exactly, because I started to work on creases, so or maybe I can explain, but it's not useful for you anyway. But yeah, even if you go on face region, you don't have face region, so you have to select everything manually, like I said. And for that, you can just go like this and try to see the lines of every edges. So you see here, we have one line that's going from here to here, and then we have another one that's going from here to here. And if I select this thing, it select only this part, but if I select the other thing here, it's gonna select the bottom part. And this is how you can, in your 3D view, imagine how shapes are done in wireframe, and then select exactly what you want to select this way. It's not perfect, but it can like squeeze a bit of the time that you spend on selecting things, on doing some job works, because if you don't, well, you might have a harder time to do these things. So I'm selecting everything again, and this was good. Doing it piece by piece is just for you, but I could maybe speed up the process in another ways, but I don't see one right away now. What you can do is like select everything like this, even if you don't select the proper things, and then check on the object mode what is selected that you don't want to see, or even in wireframe mode, but it's harder to like identify stuff. So here, what I want is this thing, and I don't want this thing. The same way you can go in object mode and select stuff like this, but there are stuff that are sometimes through that you have to work your way with. So in my case, it is this thing that I want to uncheck, and for some reason I don't want to uncheck the other one, so I go back on wireframe and I slowly check exactly what it is, and I unselect it. There's still these edges, not very visible. It's the first time I see this, but yeah. And to check if your part is well unselected or selected like you wanted, you can try to move it to see if it's still attached to something. This one hopefully wasn't attached to the body, but sometimes you have like the dots connecting to one part to each other and you have to separate them, and moving it won't do the job that you want. But for now, my part is selected. As you can see, it is only the thing that I wanted to separate. So it is done. And to do it properly, to separate anything, you have to select it, make sure that it is what you want to separate, and you press P, and it asks you by what you want to separate it. Here we want to separate the selection, because by material, as it uses the same, it's not gonna separate properly, and loose part, I don't know exactly what it does, so I'm not gonna use it. But here I press selection, and now you can see that I can still work on the bumper, but I can't work anymore on the thing that I separated. And to be able to work back on it, you have to press tab, and then you can go back to the pieces, even if you select them, and now you can edit them together. Here, as it is mirrored, I have to keep it mirrored because I didn't apply the mirror before on the bumper, so it's using the same, but on the other side I don't have anything for this, so what I can do is just keep it mirrored for now. And from here, you can also keep separating things by the material you want to use. So I can just work with two pieces, but you can still like remove a third one. So let's say if you want this thing outside to be another color or another material than the center, you can do this. But for the purpose of the video, I'm gonna make it as simply as possible and just keep it like this. So for now, as I know that I want to keep this once, I can apply the mirror, but when you export, you can still tell him apply the mirror part too. Okay, so right now my piece is ready to be exported for the mesh, but we have to make sure that the material is done properly. And as you can see, it uses the same for the front bumper and the lights. And I'm gonna change that by removing this part on the little lights that I separated, and I'm gonna create a new material. And this one is gonna be the fog lights. I think that this is what it is, but it can be also extra headlights. It doesn't matter for the name, it's just for you to remember what the shader is for what meshes. And when that's done, you can again press all transforms when selecting them. Be really sure that everything you did was applied properly. So now we came to the part that I'm not gonna explain, but I'm gonna just tell you what it is. You have the livery on vehicles that makes you able to add stickers and download them from the list that you have in the Forza servers of people's creations. You can fix everything in the data tab and in the UV editing here. So as you can see, the part I'm working on had an UV and I can select it here. And what the UV is, it's gonna create a 2D version of your part so that when you apply something to it, you can know exactly where those parts are in a texture, and this texture is used to locate the part. And it is in this kind of things as UV maps that the game knows where your bumper is and that it can take a square, a circle, or whatever you're doing and place it on your bumper. So for the matter of keeping things simple for this tutorial, I'm not gonna show you how to fix the UV, but I'm gonna show you after how to do it on another video, because I've seen somebody who asked me how to fix a hood where he had, and you might have also the same thing, a livery applied to your base vehicle. You add a new part or a modified part of something that existed already in the vehicle, and all of a sudden, if you do something on the side, depending of the position that you have the vinyls on their sides or wherever on your vehicle, it might also copy it to the new part that you created. And to avoid that, there is also a way to delete the livery. But as you're following the videos to learn, I'm not gonna show it. I'm gonna like leave it, even if it's a glitch for now. And on the proper tutorial, you will see how to fix it, and not only fix it, but make the livery working somehow properly on your vehicle. It's not gonna be perfect because I didn't find a way to make it perfect, but little by little you can make things more precisely placed on the UV mapping from what the game expects, and then you can use it as you please. So what we did in Blender is importing, your new parts to the scene. We have separated parts that we want by materials, and this is very important that you understand that for the next part in Forza Studio, because any meshes use one material. Okay, so this is a bumper, it used the paint material. Because of that, if you keep them not separated, everything's gonna be in the same material when you're gonna apply it to a part. And you don't want that. You want to have every part that needs one material separated by parts and material. And that's what we did. Front bumper, here is for the front bumper, here is fog lights. And I already called the shader fog lights, so I'm just gonna call like lights for the mesh. So you have front bumper and lights. And in front bumper you have body shade, the shading called body, and in lights you have a shader called fog lights. And this is it. Now the part is for now ready to be exported and imported in Forza Studio to be working with your vehicle. And to export it, this is the part that I said earlier that I'm gonna tell you in the end what's happening with a glitch that appears in the 9.2.2 version of Forza Tech Studio. For some reasons, here when we go in File and Export and we hit FBX, you have here a scale feature. One is 100% of your size. This is the 1 by 1 that you can see in like little models of things. Let's say if you buy a little vehicle, you have sometimes a scale of 1 by 64. This is 64 times smaller than the real one, and the real one is scaled by 1. This is exactly what it does here. And for some reasons, before we had a problem with the axis. So here we had to work with it and it wasn't working with Forza Tech Studio. It was working, not working, was doing whatever it wanted. And now it is fixed. These things are fixed, but the scale has glitched. So until we have an update after the 9.2.2 to fix this, everything you export as of today, the 28th June, you have to scale every part that you export as scale 0.01, because when it's at 1 it scaled the part 100 times bigger, and we don't want to have a massive huge front bumper that's gonna ram everything and is gonna destroy your map, even though it's not gonna do it because the collision, I think it doesn't work this way, but still I am not sure, so it might happen and we don't want that. So for now, just scale it by 0.01 until you have an update that specifically said, okay, the scale thing was corrected, now we can export back to scale 1. And the last thing that you want to do before exporting, so you have the name here, you can put whatever, you don't have to keep the font. FBX is gonna do it anyway automatically. But what you have to do is here, you have to press to limit to selected object, because if you don't do that, it's going to export everything that you have on the scene, and if you have a whole vehicle, it's going to export the whole vehicle. So yeah, after that, good luck to like sort things out and use even a vehicle, a fully vehicle in the game like this. And another thing that you can do here is apply the transform. So it is to apply the mirroring that we had here that's not applied on the part. Why it is a nice thing to have here the apply transform? It's because if you want to work on the model, let's say you see that something is wrong, because let's say in the beginning when I told, not the beginning, in the middle of the video, I told you to like move this thing. If it's not properly done, you can still edit it. You can do it again. If you apply it, it's gonna be fixed on the vehicle and you won't be able to do any modification after that. So that's why it is good to like apply transform in the export, so that you don't have to think about it, and when it's done, it's done. And every time you're gonna work on the part, it's gonna work properly until you start moving it around and it's gonna like do weird things. Okay. So yeah, here you press like you put the name that you want of the file, the place you want to remember it. You press limit to selected object, you scale to 0.01 until it is working as intended in the next update, and you hit apply transform if you have any. If you don't have any, you can still do it, but it's not like very it's not like, let's say, a bad thing if you still apply it and you have no transform. So here you hit export FBX when it's done. So I'm gonna call the part front test, and I hit export FBX, and it's gonna take a few seconds. And that's it. Now we have our part exported, and we're gonna go to Forza Tech Studio to import the part, set up the materials, check if everything is alright, compress back the car, and try it in game.